Okay, we are picking up where we left off from the last video in this video series of modernizing the MyListing property demo. So let's run through the changes I've done since I ended the last recording. The first thing was I went ahead and used the icon. So right here in the top left, logo, icon, whatever you want to call it, that MyListing was already using for the site. So we're just going to go ahead and roll with that for this one. So if we go under the media library, what I did is I just downloaded that image, gave it a new name. I called it just Favicon here. And we're also going to use it for the logo as well. Okay. We'll go ahead and delete this image. This is an old image from an import. So it's I optimized the image as well. It was PNG, ping, whatever you like to say there. I just optimized it with WebP and gave it a proper name. Okay, I just wanted you to be aware of that. I then went into theme tools, set it as the site logo. I also went into the appearance, the customizer, and set it as the favicon right there. All right. So unlike the car demo, I do like this logo. I did not like the logo that they used for that car website. It was horrible. So, but I do like this one. So props on that. So went over the logo, the favicon, transactional email. As I mentioned in the last video and some other videos, I like to use MailPoet. It plays really nicely with WooCommerce and it just works. It's super easy to set up and it's free. So I installed and activated MailPoet. You just if you happen to buy the starter site or use MailPoet on your own site, you just obviously need to configure it, which is easy to do. I've got a guide and a video for that. And if you ever need to go the premium route, the club has a good discount for MailPoet. Okay. Elementor global colors. So let's go find a page to edit. I mentioned that offline, I was going to finish setting up the global colors. So I went into the site settings for Elementor and then went to global colors. And I've got all of our blacks, whites, and grays in there. So this should cover everything that we need for the site. As you can tell, they're named black, but as you go up in numbers, the color gets lighter and it covers all the way from just straight black all the way to essentially a white. Darn near white, but we also have white covered. So it's going to cover every shade of black and gray and white that we need. We already had the global color set for the buttons and as well, and our links. So we are good to go completely with global colors. I also offline, I told you I was going to take care of the global fonts. So if we go to global fonts, I've got that H1, H2 text, the accent set. We got H3, H4, a bold text, buttons, and nav. This is all I used on the car light starter site, and it got us where we needed to be. So we are good to go there. MyListing theme options. I went in here under theme options, and as I always like to do with the MyListing website, I changed the background color here from like an off-white to just straight white. In my opinion, no theme should ever choose any color but white for the background, unless it's a dark mode theme, and that's all they use is a dark mode theme, and therefore it's going to be set to like almost black or some dark color, right? But if you're doing a light mode website, like setting it to anything other than white to me does not make any sense. Okay, that's just my design philosophy there. What else? Contact page. So we created a contact page. And in that, I copied over the content from the car starter site and just dropped it in here. And then I just customized the look for this to match the branding of this site. Okay, so everything is set to go here, fully optimized for mobile. Okay, to go along with that, I had to, because we're using Contact Form 7, there's going to be some limitations when you do free tools like Contact Form 7, you're going to need CSS. So I go into WP Codebox. I create a CSS package called Contact Form 7. And using the conditions builder of WP Codebox, we assign this CSS only to the contact page and if it is a listing, because listings are going to have the same form used in those. All right. So that is right here on the front end. There we go. And that is all set. Anything else I need to mention from there? So copied from car, change the design elements to our branding, contact form 7, post-it. Okay. The footer. As we did with the car site, I installed the Ultimate Add-ons for Elementor Lite plugin. This is going to give us some functionality in our footer to be able to do our footers for free, because Elementor free does not allow that. So this actually used to be called Elementor Header and Footer Builder before it got renamed. Okay, so what I did is I went into settings. I turned off, as I always recommend, turning off all widgets and features except for the ones that you're using. It's not only good for performance, and it's also good just to keep track of what it is you're actually using. And in some cases, not in this particular case, but in some cases, it also just keeps dashboards decluttered, because like with Elementor, for example, the more widgets you enable, the more that they're going to add to the elements panel when you go to build your pages, so you can clean those up. A little bit different in this case, but nonetheless, I still like to do it for performance reasons and just to keep track of what it is I'm using. So nav menu is needed to build that nav menu in the footer here. Okay, right here. Whoops. To build this right here. Okay. Next up is the dynamic copyright, and that gives us this right here. So this uses a short code in it. I'll go ahead and pull that up. Let's go to templates. Oh, actually, we got to go to the header and footer builder and then templates. So here's our footer. Let's go ahead and edit that. And if we click on that widget right there, we have shortcode right there, which is injecting the year dynamically. So you never have to go in there and manually update it. And it's injecting our site title. So that's how that is built. Okay. I'm trying to think if there's any, for some reason, this down here, this is how it looks, but like sometimes on the first load, it looks wonky. I don't know why that is, but this is how it will look for you. All right, so that is a good looking footer ready to go. And what else? What else did I do? Dynamic copyright, menus. Okay, footer and sitemap. So looking at the menus, I came in here under appearance and menus, and I created 4 menus: footer left, footer middle, footer right, and legal and sitemap. And I built those menus out, and those are added individually here. I'm going to set those for you here in this video. So you select the nav menu, we see footer left. Select the nav menu, footer middle, and you just assign them that way, okay? And then this bottom one is legal and sitemap. So that's how that is done. You don't need, like if you get this template or this starter site, obviously you can adjust the menus, you can reduce the number of menus if you want, you can, however it is that you want to do it. This is an excellent starting point for most people. Okay, and then on top of that, to get that sitemap page, to have an actual, where that link actually goes somewhere, I created a sitemap page, and go up here under screen options and just display more settings more pages by default. There we go. So there's our sitemap page, and we will build that out. Okay, that is it. You are now caught up. So now let's just wing it. Let's just see what else we can get into here. So one of the things I'm going to do right now, I noticed, is I'm going to start deleting some duplicate pages. So we're going to delete this cart page. We're going to delete this checkout page. We're going to delete all the Explore pages except for the default one. I'm not sure how these duplicates get in there. We don't need the refund and returns policy for the site. We don't need a sample page. Okay, that should do it. Let's delete all of these. And then let's empty our trash. Then the next thing we want to do is we want to go through and make sure all of our slugs are correct for those default pages and others. So add a listing. I like to call this add listing. I mean, even the MyListing Developers have a slug of add listing rather than add a listing. So I don't know why they call it add a listing. So I like to update that page to say that. I'm going to go into each of these and make sure that each slug is correct. So we don't want that -2 at the end of those. But again, I don't know how those got in there. I think the MyListing demo may bring those in. Okay, that looks good. Make sure home. Yep, that's good. My account, just me. I like to have the first letter of each word capitalized. Got to make sure the slug is correct. Privacy policy is good. Shop, we need that to be to shop. Sitemap's good. Terms and conditions is good. Okay, so all of our pages are now cleaned up. So I'm going to make a note of that. Cleaned up. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we've got that cleaned up. Let's go back over to our project template and let's take care of the policies. All right, we have the pages in place, but let's go in here and actually finish setting these up. So let's edit the privacy policy. Let's edit the terms and conditions. And I know it's not a policy, but let's go ahead and take care of the sitemap. Okay, with the privacy policy, it's going to have some default data in there. I'm just going to do a Control-A a couple times to select all of the text, and I'm just going to get rid of it. And I'm going to save it. I'm going to edit it with Elementor because we're going to bring over the design from the car site to start with. Terms and conditions, same thing. Edit with Elementor. Sitemap, same thing. All right, starting with the privacy policy, I am over on the car site. And what I'm going to do is just right-click into the page on the car site and say copy all content. If you're not familiar with that, you can look that up. Search for it on Elementor site. Just Google it or ChatGPT it or whatever it is you search for, how to copy content from one page to another in Elementor. But I'm literally going to show you right now. So right-click, copy all content. All right. Then you come over to your other site, which is this site, right click, paste from other site, and then hit Control-V. There we go. So we are using Termageddon, and because I want the policies to actually be the same on the starter sites, we're just going to roll with what's already embedded here. So this is our embed code from Termageddon, which I use on all my sites and recommend for your policies. They'll cover everything for you. The club has a really good deal for Termageddon if you want to sign up through the club. It could not be easier. Okay. So what we're going to do is just clean this up a bit. We just need to adjust the text mainly here. So let me look at what I did on the other site. I used H4 for this. So we're just going to change our global font to H4 and we are done there. Next thing we need to do is adjust the button, and we need to change this to our global font of buttons. That will take care of that. And does it have our hover in there? Let's see. Take out that hover and see if it, yeah. Sometimes you need to manually set button styling with Elementor. I don't know why that is, but it's not a MyListing issue. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so then the next one is the title of the page, which is privacy policy, which is the H1, and this is H1, so that is good to go. All right, so this is actually all set. Let me adjust this icon box border to kind of match what this particular site is doing, which is just going to be a border width of 1 and a border color of black. Okay, whereas on the car site, we did a kind of a bolder border, which is 2 pixels. In this case, we're just going to do 1 here. And that is a nice look. And because I imported this over from the other site, I know it is completely mobile responsive. Okay, right out of the box. It's good to go. And there we go. Okay, looking at the page on the front end, I'll only do this with one page just because it's going to be redundant. But there you go. You see how that comes in nicely with Termageddon. Everything looks good. Everything is styled up correctly. Now that we have the styling in place, when we bring over the other content, which I'm going to do right now. So on the other site, the car site, again, I'm copying all content, pasting all content from the other side, site, Control V, bring that in. Now I can go back to the privacy policy page, right click on that element, which is an icon box, copy it, go back to this page and right click and paste the style. And then we can do the same if we had other pages, okay? But I'm gonna go over here, I'm gonna do the same for the button, copy it, paste style. Just that easy. That page is completely done. Moving over to the sitemap, let me close a few things down on this other screen of mine. We need to bring up the sitemap page. I'm gonna go ahead and do that on my other screen. We're just gonna do that same thing. We're gonna do a copy and paste. Elementor is taking just a second to load, so I'll get, okay, there we go. All right, copy all content, paste from other site. There we go. Our headings are good. This should be an H1. This is an H2. And we want to style this up differently. So I'm going to go ahead and just save this. We're going to need CSS because, again, we don't have Elementor Pro here, and we're using, if you look here, how this is done. If you watch my other video series on this for the car demo, we are using SEOPress to output our HTML sitemap. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here, I'm going to go plugins, add new. We're going to add the free version of SEOPress. Install, activate. Okay, we're going to go right over to our advanced settings. No, wait, here it is. XML, HTML sitemap. We're going to go in there. And we are going to come down here to the HTML sitemap. And let me get my settings over here. Let's see. I can actually export the settings. So I'm going to go. That's right. I give you the pro version as well. So let me go ahead and do that while we're here. Actually, I'll do that offline because we don't need I don't think we need the pro version for this. You know what? I'll do it. Just give me 1 second here. So let's go ahead and add new. Let me get SEOPress Pro ready to install. So this will be included. It will be licensed. You are a client of mine if you buy a starter site. So no problems there. I'm having trouble locating. You know what? I'll do this offline because I'm having trouble locating the installer file. Okay. Anyway, so what I'm going to do here is we're just going to go into HTML. So I'm going to copy the settings here manually for now and do the rest offline. We just got to get the HTML sitemap settings in here. Okay, here we go. So we did ascending for the order of things, and for the order post by, we're going to do post title, and we're going to disable display of the publication date and display the hierarchy for posts and products. We don't need it. We just want it to be flat. In this case, you can do whatever you want once you obtain the site. Save changes. Okay, so once you do that, you see here that SEOPress gives you the different shortcodes that you can use. But since I've already copied and pasted that from the other site, now that we have SEOPress installed and activated, when I reload the page, it should just be the way we want. So our CPT is post job listings. There, we don't have, let's see. Let's see what that actually looks like on the front end. Let's go to sitemap. Yeah, that's not coming in. So got to figure out why that is. And let's see. So we did. It was fine before I hit refresh, wasn't it? So we're doing posts and job listings. So maybe I'll paste this in again. Yeah, I don't know why that's not coming across. Let's do this. I'm going to go over to SEOPress, and I should have just did this. I'm going to go to Tools, and I'm going to export the settings. SEOPress is really great for this, by the way. So then I'm going to go back here into SEOPress under Tools. And I'm going to go import settings, import, and let's go try to refresh this page again. There we go. I don't know what got hung up there, but there we go. Okay, so the next thing is we need to style this up. And I did a CSS package for this. So I'm going to grab that. Okay, so we go over here to WP Codebox, create a code snippet called sitemap. Sorry, new snippet, sitemap. Snippet is CSS. It gets applied to the front end footer. Open the conditions builder, apply this CSS if the current post is the sitemap. We don't want that CSS applied anywhere else on our site. Let me copy the code. Very simple. There's not a whole lot to it. Okay, refresh the page. We notice that there's underlines, but this still isn't where I want it to be. I want these to actually be black. So we're going to go back to our styling and we're going to do color. We're going to call up our black demo black variable color. So it's going to be demo.black. There we go. And then on hover, we want it to be, it's going to go ahead and it's going to be our accent by default because it's pulling from Elementor, right? Okay, so there we go. There we go. On hover, we've got our color, view all listings. I'm not sure. Let me go to the car site and see if that's how it is. I don't think it is, but I could be wrong. Sitemap. Yeah, it's not. Okay, so we need to, let's right click on this, inspect it. We will do this together. Maybe we need, oh, it's the archive link. Okay, so I'm going to copy this class. So what this is, if you look at the class, let me paste it over here in the WP code box. The class is .sp, which stands for SEOPress. Okay, so what I did is I copied the class that is for this special link right here. They're calling that the archive link. Okay. And actually, you know what? I want this to be a little, let me see. Yeah, I want this one to actually be a little different. I'm not going to get too far into the weeds with CSS, but if you can save yourself some CSS and some load on your page somewhat, if you're able to combine classes together like I have here, if the styling is going to be identical. There's one change I want to be different, so I'm going to actually break this out to be its own entry. So I'm going to come down here and do this. And I'm going to just copy this text here and put this here. So we do want that underline to be black, right? For that. So we've just set that. But another thing I want to do is do a text transform capitalize. Because if you look at this, I want this to say all view listing in capital letters for each first letter capitalized. Okay, so that's what that does. Okay, so I'm going to put a note on here that says this is the archive link. And then I'll put another note, e.g. if I could type all listings, or let's see, view all listings. So you guys know what this is. View all listings. Okay, so that should take care of it. Let's refresh this page. There we go. The color is still wrong, so maybe I need to put an important declaration in here. So I'm going to add that at the end. All right, that did not work. So let's figure out why. That is weird. It's according to that, it is work. It should be working. Let's go back to our global colors, and we've got demo black, demo dash black, demo dash black. That is strange. Let's just for fun set this to a hard-coded hex value, just for fun to see if it triggers anything. Okay, I'm going to do that offline. I don't know where that is coming from. So I'm going to make a note. 1 second, bear with me here. What else? All sitemap, all archive link. Caller. Okay, so I'll do that offline. I'll figure out what the heck's going on with that. Okay, so that is the sitemap, and that is going to be mobile responsive out of the box, just because I know that it is. So we are good to go there. I will fix that, but for all intents and purposes, this is ready to go. And you can add whatever you guys want to the sitemap. You just come back over here into SEOPress, HTML site, configure this however you want. You can show more post types like your products, any post types, you can put it in there. But offline, I'm going to come through here. I'm going to install SEOPress Pro. I'm going to import all of the settings again so that they're identical to the car starter site, light starter site. So we will be good to go. Again, SEOPress will be licensed, so no worries there. And I'm going to consider the policies done. Next up, let's tackle the 404 page. If you go and look at a MyListing website by default, and let's just type in word fake, this is going to give us a 404 page. You see, and I talked about this in another video, just how bad this is. So what we're going to do is we're going to use nothing more than CSS to make this look better. Let's go over to WP Codebox. Let's create another snippet called 404 page. The type of snippet is CSS. It's going to run in the footer. Conditions builder is going to say only run this when the current page URL contains, I believe is what we did on this. Oh, it's you know what? I lied. We can't do this. We got to go to global. So I'm going to see 404 because a 404 could occur anywhere, right? So this is a 404. Let's do a search. There we go. Okay. Sorry about that. So we're going to come over to our global CSS package. We're going to drop down a bit. This is all documented. I'm just going to change a couple of things here. Let me go grab this image. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to display our site logo, our favicon, when there's no results. Okay, so right here, otherwise this icon that I absolutely hate is going to appear, this smiley face. We want to replace that with something custom that's more professional. So I'm going to copy the URL of this image. I'm going to go back to the CSS and I'm going to drop that in here. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and roll with that and see what we get out of the box, because I'm not setting any colors here. So we might just be good to go. Okay, so that's the before and this is the after. Boom. Much, much better. Now we probably want to shrink this image down here a bit. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to inspect that image. And we can also, let's see. So once you inspect it, over here on the right-hand side in the inspector, if you hover over that, it tells you what size that it's coming in at, 256 by 256, if you didn't know that. Probably want to shrink that down. So let's see, on the car site, let me just pull up a 404 over there. We have that image coming in at 80 by 80. Okay, I think that's a good size. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to open up Squish. I like to use this app when I need to resize an image. Otherwise, there's another one called Squish that I like to use. So we are going to pull in, not this one. We want to download this one. Let's pull this into Squish, and we are going to resize it. So I'm going to click this resize toggle here, and we're going to set this to 80 by 80. And we're also going to compress it as an AVIF, because this one we're not worried about. We don't care. We want the best compression for this image possible, because because this particular image, we have no worries about using AVIF. It's not being shared anywhere on social media or anything like that. So we can go ahead and use AVIF here. So max compression, we get this down to 2.17 kilobytes. Okay, with that down, I'm actually going to rename this to MyListing-property-demo. No results. Okay, let's upload this to our site. Let's copy the URL just as we did before. Go to WP Codebox and let's paste this in. Boom, boom, good to go. Let's refresh our 404 page. There we go. That is pretty. Okay, what else did I do here? Let's compare this to the other site. We'll just get this apples to apples here. Okay, so one thing you'll notice is that 404 is on its own line. Everything's kind of stacked there. So we can go ahead and pull that off. That is not done. We see that is not done here in the CSS. Okay, so where that's done is we have to go into plugins, add new, do a search for Loco. I'm going to pull this up here on my other screen, Loco Translate. Okay, so we need to activate Loco Translate, and we're going to do a search for, so Loco Translate, home. We need to translate the MyListing theme. So we're going to do that. Select MyListing here. We're going to do it. We need to add the English language in my case. So new language. I've got a video on this as well and a guide. We need to go to English, and we need to make sure that custom is selected there so that our changes are not overwritten. We're going to start translating. We want to click the sync button here to get the latest version of everything. Here we go. We want to do a search for the term error 404. Okay. Error 404. This is what we need to translate. So we're going to click on that. Let me copy exactly what I have from the other starter site. And we'll break this down. So here we go. So now down here in the very bottom box is what we want our final wording to be. So what we're doing is we're wrapping the word error 404 in a span tag called span class error label. So that's important. We'll look at that here in a second. We're just wrapping the error 404 in that class. Save. Now, when we do that and refresh, you'll notice it looks completely the same. That's because we haven't applied the CSS that we need. Okay, so coming back over here, here's that CSS, that error label. Okay, so that's what it's looking for. When you set something in Loco Translate, sometimes it takes a little while to actually come through, or you may even need to clear the cache. So let's see if by now that it is taken hold. There we go. So look how clean that looks. I think that just looks great. And we didn't need to create any template or anything. It just looks good out of the box. You can go back to the home page if there's an issue. I'm actually, while we're in here, going to change that. We're still translating the MyListing theme. So we're going to translate this button to say back. What did I do here? Let me see. I'm just going to match this up. Oh, I didn't translate that on the other site. Okay. Oh, okay. I see what I did. I styled the button. Okay, so we'll go ahead and just do that. We'll do this in back to homepage. There we go. So that button will look the way that I want it to look there, and we are good to go. The 404 page is going to be mobile responsive, out of the box, 100%, because we've got our fluid typography and everything. So I'm always confident once we get that fluid typography set that it's going to look great. Okay, so that is our 404 page. Couldn't be easier. Let's delete that. Next up, do we want to take care of the newsletter right now? That would involve the blog page. Let me think about this for a second. So let's go. I'd kind of like to knock this down. So let me see what I did here. For the blog page, what we did, yeah, okay, we can take care of this. So let's close a few things out here. We have our blog page, and remember what I said earlier in a previous video, or maybe it's the previous video, was you don't want to go into WordPress settings and reading and set this to be blog. So let's do that, and you'll see like what that screws up. So now if we go over here and try to go to this blog page, it gets super wonky. I can't remember where it gets wonky, but I can't remember. I always forget. Just know that don't set that to be a blog page. So just ignore that last few seconds. Okay, so let's go to the blog page. We want to apply have some sort of a newsletter sign up form here somewhere. So for that, let's go into MailPoet in forms. So we're going to go MailPoet forms. We're going to click begin setup, and we're just going to get through here just so it allows us to get to the forms. I'm just going to put something here. Test@test.com. This is what I would set myself for these settings. So no worries there. Okay, we're going to click connect to MailPoet, but we're not actually going to do that. We can just get back out of this wizard. Let's see, how do we get to, let's go, I'm going to hard code this in here. Okay, there we go. Okay, here we go. So here's our newsletter form. And can I export this? I can never remember if I can. So let's go to edit this form. Oh, I'm on the wrong page. I was like, how is this even looking like that? I do not want to put a key in here. How do I get to just the darn? I don't want to put the key in here. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, forms. Here we go. Add new form. Now, can I import a form? I can never remember. I don't think I can. That'd be cool if you could. Yeah, I don't think you can at this time. Okay, so let's just create a custom form. I think what we did over here. Let me see what I did. It's also not super important that we do this together. I think in the last video, I did this on my own. So I think I'm gonna do that again. So I'm gonna create the form again. We'll do this in another video. So, okay, we'll do this in another video. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the My Listing column here. And let's see what we need to set in theme options general. So we're gonna go theme options, theme tools, theme options, and look here at the general. I do not like using loading screens. It looks unprofessional. It's also a performance hit. So I like to just do no loading screen there. Login registration page background. I think we can just roll with what they used here on the homepage. So I'm going to go over to the media library. We're going to find that image that they're using. So let's go to, let's close some stuff down. There we go. There we go. I'm going to inspect this page and find out exactly which image they are using. It's not that. We got to go a little higher here. There we go. It is. Sorry about that. I'm mouse clicking is not going well right now. So let's right click again. We can probably also find it in the media library if I look close enough. They don't name anything, so they make it hard for you to find stuff. All right, so it's got a couch in it. It's got like a brown wall. Shouldn't have to do this. Looks like it might be this one. There we go. Wait, no, that's not it. What the heck? Yeah, there we go. Okay, download this file. If you're building demos for people, guys, like take some time to name some files. Jeez Louise. All right, we're going to call this MyListing-property-demo dash home. And there we go. I'm going to run this through my other squish tool because I don't need to resize this, I don't think. I think it's probably fine. We can actually check that. Let's check that, see what they're using. Click the resize toggle. Okay, it's fine. All right, so we'll go ahead and just roll with this. We're going to set this to a WebP because this homepage is probably going to be shared hypothetically on social media. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so now we can come into our homepage. We'll set this for the homepage, and we'll also set it for the login. You know what? We'll do this later because this is a whole other discussion we have to get into. So let's go back to our theme options. Let's set this as the login register page background. Before we do that, let's do a before and after. So this is the before. You just get everything in, centered there in the middle like that. And then let's upload our image here our new image. There we go, properly named so we know what it is in the future. There we go. So there's our before and there's our after. Cool, easy peasy. So that is set. I don't mess with any of the stuff down here at the bottom typically. Go over to header. And looking at this right now, I think everything is pretty good as far as the styling goes in the header. I think we can roll with that. So let's go back to our theme options. Header border color. Yeah, I think we're good there. We'll have to look at some other pages. Like let's go to our a blank page, like contact, not blank, but you know what I mean? Yeah, I think that's okay. I might have a rethink on this dark border. Maybe we lighten that up a bit, but I think the header border's fine. Okay, menu's fine. This is all good. This is personal preference. Like typically we're going to go like 80 here for the logo. So let's go ahead and try that out. Yeah, that's not going to work in this particular case. So let's go ahead and just put this to 50. There we go. That looks fine. Okay, so we're gonna do 50, 50, and then 40. We want to show the search form. That's fine. Search form feature categories. We're just going to clear that out. Call to action button's fine. Add listing. I don't want to put an icon in front of the add listing call to action. Show cart. That's fine. We're not going to do breadcrumbs for this particular site. On scroll, everything is fine. Everything is fine. Okay. So we'll save that. Refresh, and all we're going to see here really is just this button loses that icon, so it's cleaner. Okay, let's do a test. Okay, that looks fine. Yeah, that's good to go. All right, so footer, we're just showing the back to top button, so we can blow past that. The Explorer page, we're going to show 99 listings at once. This is just do whatever you want there. That's just what I always just default to. We're going to default to the default Explorer page for the default Explorer page is going to default to the default Explorer page. And then the default add listing page is going to default to add listing. That's good. For the single listing design, let's first see what one of those looks like. So our header area, we've got like all kinds of transparency going on there. We need a little bit of a background color on there because that is hard to see. Can't just be straight transparent. Okay, so we need to come in here and do something different for the single listing. So maybe instead of complete transparency, you want to set this to like maybe 0.4. And I've noticed this lately with MyListing is that it's having a hard time like accepting this. It's like it's resetting it. I don't know if it's just me that's having this luck. So let me save this. I'm going to see if I just directly paste it in. Let's do 0.4. Maybe if I just paste it in and don't type, it will work. No, see how it keeps resetting that? I don't know if that's a new bug or what that is. It's a bit frustrating. Yeah, there's really like nothing we can do there if it doesn't allow us to set that in there. Just keeps resetting it. And I don't think we can use Elementor's transparency. So if we go Elementor and we go like global colors just for fun, just do like a pretend color here. Let's set it to all white, but then let's do some transparency by clicking on RGBA. Let's set that to 0.4, and then let's switch back over to hex, and that will give us our transparent hex color. Let's copy that. I think this is going to be overwritten as well. Yeah, MyListing doesn't like that. Okay, I will figure that out offline. Let me make a note of that. Let's see, single listing transparent header. Okay. We can always use CSS worst case, but MyListing should allow us to do that. Like for now, we could just do a total like a white background with like a light gray border if we wanted, just so we have something on there. Everything else should be fine. What did I do over here? So let me look at the car site. We'll match these up. Theme tools, theme options. Single listings, we went normal and light. We went with a dark border, a dark header color. Yeah, so we need white and white, default. Okay, so we're going to also change this. We're not going to blend the header into the cover section. We're going to change the opacity overlay, that black color overlay from 0.2 to 0.4 opacity on those. We're going to change the cover image picture quality to full because if you're optimizing your images, it should be just fine. And let's update that. Refresh. So that's going to give us this, remove that transparency. So if we set this back to blend that in, then we need to get back to getting this header to being transparent. So I'll look into that offline and let you guys know what I come up with there. Let's go back to our settings. We don't do anything with the blog. Here we don't mess with anything with the blog like we do this elsewhere. We don't do this in MyListing. Custom code, we definitely do not touch that area. Shop page, we don't touch that area other than, did I set something specific here? I think the defaults are fine here. Just set this to sidebar for fun. Here we go. We may call upon that sidebar. I can't recall off the top of my head, but we will get to that. Typography, we do not touch. Share modal, choose whatever it is that you want to share in the share modal, which we will get to later. So I'm going to do Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, the heavy hitters here, Threads, Blue Sky, Mail, Copy Link, and Native Share. Okay, so that takes care of our theme options. For all of these things are done, 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 done. And I cover all of this in the project template. If you were to drill down into here, there's explanations and stuff for all of this. So you can adjust it however it is that you want. For performance, we're going to do this at launch, but if you go under theme tools and performance, you're going to have the preview card caching. We're going to enable that at launch so we don't have to keep clearing that cache. Under other settings, I like to set this to 900. Or sorry, 600 by auto, that one right there. Because anything larger than that is just a waste, because the max it's going to display it is what I have here, that 600 in auto. So if you're choosing to try to render your images bigger in the preview cards, it's not going to matter. Unless you're doing some kind of custom preview cards, like really custom. Then under data updates, we need to run these, make sure they're all green. Okay, that's done. Performance, we're going to put this at launch. So we're going to do this at the very end. Listing stats, we just need to style those up. So we're going to go into our theme tools, our theme options. We're going to grab, you know what we're going to do? We're going to go into WP Code Box. That'll be faster. We're going to grab our accent color. We're going to come back over here. We're going to go to theme tools, listing stats. Well, I think I left all these the same. Oh, sorry. I think I left all these as defaults here at the top for you guys to make the decision on what you want there. Typically, I will go ahead and configure all of this. Like, I recommend disabling a lot of the stuff here because as a website owner, there's nothing that you can do about it. Like, enabling countries, there's nothing that you or your listing owners, there's nothing your listing owners can do, especially by knowing which countries that someone's coming to. Like, they can't do anything about it. So it's better just to have your analytics do that sort of stuff. Okay, for the color palette down here, I typically like to set these, differently. But I'm going to set these for all, for the purposes of this site and video series. We're going to set those all to our black. We're going to set the main color here at the bottom to our red, which MyListing already had for us. But then we're going to come here, we're going to take our accent hover color, which is 10% lighter, and we're going to apply that to this other. So there's a little bit of difference, but it doesn't look like that's enough. So we're going to go back to our hex color, and we're going to punch in the 10% lighter color, and we're going to go 10% lighter yet. Lighten that up. So that is this color. So if you punch in, if we go to the very beginning, our accent color, right? Let's go punch that in right here. And by default, it's going to lighten by 10%. So let's go ahead and click lighten. And again, we're grabbing that 20% lighter just so there's a different color there. It's like a unique, enough of a contrast. So let's punch that one in. And we can roll with that. I don't really like that pink color in there. So we may go the other way. We may go darker. So let's click on darken instead. And let's grab maybe this 10% darker. It's another way that you can do it is instead of doing your accent color, you can go on the other side. So for example, we've got our accent color in there. Let's lighten by 10%, which would be this. Let's put that in the far left. And then let's darken it by 10% and grab that color and put that at the right. That way you're not getting into the extreme lights and the extreme darks. So let's do that. Now if we go into our listings, this is the black boxes at the top, and you can do whatever you want there. You can set those to be uniquely colored, obviously. And then under our stats, we now have, this is the line. So I think that looks pretty good. There's enough of a differentiator there, but again, you saw what I did. You can go lighter, you can go darker, whatever you want to do there. I'm going to consider that done. Map services. Let me see what we need to do there. I'm going to come over here and theme tools, map services. I'm going to punch in my Mapbox key. I recommend Mapbox. We're going to switch over to Mapbox, punch in our key. We're going to leave the language there as is. We're going to leave autocomplete return items 4 blank. And we're going to leave this other one blank as well. We're basically going to return everything and save our settings. Okay, so Mapbox should be ready to go, other than we now need to go into our Mapbox account, which I'm going to do right now. Just in case you guys aren't aware of this, it's a little bit of education. We're going into the Mapbox account. I'm going into, let's see here. Where is they've moved some stuff around. Settings. Where are all the tokens? There they are. Okay. So I need to come in here to Mapbox, and I need to go into the MyListing demos. And you see how you add exceptions for the URLs here? I need to do the same for the property. So we're going to do one more URL in here. We're going to paste this in. So now it's property. Save changes. Boom. Okay, so now when we go to the map, it should be working. So let's go to the Explore page. And let's type in something for the address. There we go. It is working. Cool, cool. So Mapbox, map services is done. User roles we're not getting into for light starter sites. Direct messages, we're going to turn those on. So we're going to go to theme tools, direct messages. You need to toggle these off. When you get the demo, it's not going to work out of the box. So if you go up here and it looks like the direct messages is working, see this top right, you click on that, it doesn't work. What you need to do is toggle these off, update, toggle them on, update. Refresh your page. Now when you click on that, it's going to work. Okay. And we're going to get into more of the direct messages later, but that is now done. Social login, we're not getting into for these particular sites. We're not doing anything with products as far as a store. Listing packages, yes, we are going to get into that. We're not going to get into paid listing packages because that's manual creation of packages. We don't need to do that. Taxonomies and listing types and all that we're going to get into. So probably going to call this video quits here. It's coming up on another hour again. So I think that's a good place to cut it off. All right. And in the next video, yeah, we'll just pick up where we left off here, and things are moving along very nicely. Catch you guys in the next video.